quickly.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Cosmo and Clash King podcast. We're joined here today again by Magic Jr., the developer of the Clash King pod. How are you today?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm
Good.
glad we doing the podcast. Episode 2. Hey, that's
Episode
further than
two.
I've made it anywhere
Yeah,
else.
it is a new record for us. It is a maximum ceiling that we've reached. We might not get past it, but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. Two is a crazy number to reach. We're gonna celebrate hard tonight, I think. Yeah.
Oh Lord. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
do it.
it's a big goal. It's a big goal. But yeah, we've got some exciting topics today. It's been 3 weeks since the last one, and it's been a very busy 3 weeks. I think that's probably the best way I can put it. We've had a lot of community conflict and drama and discussions. There's been some little updates coming out. There's been a lot of esport changes. There's been quite a lot of new developments within the scene as well. Lots of unbans, lots of bans, bit of everything really. So yeah, we're gonna dive straight into it and see what we can find out and see what the opinions are. I mean, Magic, where do we start then with all of this drama?
Yeah. I mean, how I put it is that I feel like over the last 3 weeks, it's been like drama, a lot of doomers, and dilemmas. Like those are the three like
Yeah,
key and unfortunately a lot of it's negative. And we'll talk about that negativity in general, but yeah, I guess like you said, starting with drama, I guess the main source of drama was, of course, the whole. I mean, a lot of it stemmed from Clash with Eric, or I guess he's calling himself Eric One Hive now, and I guess there was multiple pieces to that, right?
yeah, yeah. Lots
Which
of
would be
perspectives.
like, oh man. So I'm sure like most people probably know a lot of this, but I guess of course, the main parts where the copyright thing.
Yeah,
Then pretty much actually I guess it'd be the copyright thing, his own ban like his own ban, and then the esports thing.
yeah,
And they all kind of tie together in various ways. Like the esports thing may have caused his own ban, but I guess those would be like the three main things. And then I guess fourth, you could say basically what's happened in the aftermath.
yeah,
Um, so um,
yeah. I mean,
start with
of course.
the copyright thing.
Yeah, the copyright thing, I think is where it all stems from, isn't it? I mean, for those that aren't aware, there's another creator called Adam, and it all kind of stems from when he got removed. He wasn't even part of the creator program, but he got striked by Supercell, and big, there was a smaller discussion around it at that time, but it wasn't quite in the public eye to the same extent that it is now. So I mean, of course, you can. I think it can be very easy to argue both sides, get stuck in that sort of stalemate where you're both saying different things, and it's a complex situation, isn't it? There's a lot going on. Um,
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, and I think the problem is too is that like nobody knows the true story, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean, really, no one. I mean, even possible that even Adam himself doesn't know the full story, like,
yeah. There's no behind the
um,
scenes picture, is there?
yeah, and so it's easy, and that was one of the things that I hated the most, like on day one, was just like I was kind of because I think Itsu kind of got caught up in this as well too, right? It's like Eric had some points in certain areas, but it was just there was a lot, and some of it was true, some of it wasn't, some of it was misunderstandings, and it was just like I think that was the thing I hated the most, especially in the first couple days, was just like all these things, people making assumptions really quick when like
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure even Adam doesn't 100% know, like in that specific case, because like, there's like, oh, it could have been the community manager, or it could have been, leaks, or it could have been they just hate me, like I mean, or it could have been a mistake. I mean, there's like all these,
yeah,
and nobody really knows. Although I will say my personal theory is that it was just leaks. Just because there was a Twitter post like right around that time of him discussing leaks on stream,
mm,
and like Supercell this year has been like very strict about leaks. Like even in the creator program, I don't know if I can like talk about all the details, but like they've been they've held us to a higher standard, I guess, or even held more things from us, even as creators. And then outside of the creator program, like they've been they just don't want any leaks. And then part of that is like, and this was around the Holland event too, which was like their biggest event ever
Yeah.
when that happened. So like they weren't taking chances. Like I mean, even the other day I saw another creator who had the exact same thing happen to him, where he made one video about leaks, like in like like the Clash of Clans leaks
Yeah.
subreddit, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
and they just terminated his whole channel. And so of course there is the question of like if somebody talks about leaks once or um does leak something, like should they do
Mm,
that? I mean that's debatable.
yeah.
Like that just kind of suck. Like I mean on one hand, if you should know, like that's not allowed, like that. But also, damn, you
Yeah.
just do something once and that's it.
Yeah.
Um, but
Yeah. I feel like it's a
I mean,
difficult
but
one.
that's just that is a reality I've seen. Like, I mean, even like the Clash of Clans subreddit, like they wipe out. I mean, I'm sure anybody that's like followed leaks in general, like those Discord servers, those subreddits, those Twitter accounts, like Supercell just comes in like regularly and just
Yeah.
just destroys them.
Yeah.
Like um
Yeah, I mean, it is
Facebook
part of
groups,
what they
whatever.
do,
So
and it is, of course, their game as well, which adds into the complexity. They do hold the copyright, and of course,
yeah,
yeah, part of the conversation is, where is that line? Just because they own Clash of Clans, does that mean they can copyright strike anything with Clash of Clans legally? Is there a precedent for that? It is a deep and complicated
yeah.
conversation as well.
Well,
Yeah,
and if you are a creator though, like I don't make video content, but like in the creator TOS, which I don't think Adam was a creator at the time,
he
but
wasn't, no,
like
no.
but like that is a thing. Like it literally like it's basically like they detail it like we can delete your video, we can ask you to modify it, we can just use your video, we can like
Yeah,
literally
they own
just
the rights. Yeah.
it's all the legally stuff, but like if they want to take your video, take a still frame and make socks out of it, like they're allowed to do that. They can literally do anything they want with your video.
You might have just given them
Uh,
a very good idea. Yeah. Yeah, our
yeah,
faces are
so
going
I
to be on
mean,
socks now, Magic. Yeah, nice one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah, they could probably take this video and do whatever they want with it, right? So,
Yeah, it is
yeah,
part of the fun, and it is a legally binding contract as well. So it is just yeah. I mean, of course, from our side, we don't want to pick sides too much. We want to kind of let let people decide their own opinions. Ah,
yeah. But yeah, like I said, that's just my opinion. Is like just, I mean, seeing what they've copyright struck for in the past and like the circumstances and like as a creator how they treated like leaks and just all that would be my personal theory as to like what actually it's just it's like they say like Occam's razor, like that's probably the most likely simple answer
yeah,
you know um not to say that like Supercell was perfect like in this situation though, like it's and then I think that's the other thing too that I disliked is that people really get stuck on like, okay, maybe Supercell messed up with how they handled esports, which we'll get to,
yeah,
but it doesn't mean like that, you know, they're gonna come assassinate you
yeah,
just
yeah.
because you did something wrong, like it's like they could have done something right in one place and wrong in the other. Um or it can be a gray area. I mean, it's just, it's nothing's ever black and white, I guess is what it is. So
No, exactly. I mean, regardless of the way that you look at it, we haven't seen a statement from Supercell. We haven't seen anything from their side explaining how the inner workings of their community manager team works and why they made certain decisions. And you've got legal mixed in there as well. They're going to be bound by very strict rules. So we are seeing about half of the picture, I'd say. And unless we get a full statement from Supercell explaining what they did and why, it's all
mhm,
conjecture, isn't it? There's nothing to really nail it down. It is just our personal
which-
opinions mixed in there,
yeah.
and it's
And I
yeah,
kind of wish they would, but also it's like, you know, are they gonna give an answer for like everything? Like assuming it was for like true copyright abuse and whatever. Like
yeah,
they do copyright takedowns all the time. Like are they supposed to give a statement for all of it? But
yeah, exactly,
um, it,
exactly.
it would be nice to still have. an answer.
Yeah,
Just because
yeah,
people get really worked up on conspiracy theories, I guess,
yeah,
because that's pretty much what it all is, unless you unless you know for sure. So,
yeah. I mean,
um,
of course, we have had the one statement from Supercell, which I
which was
will
the esports
bring
part.
up on screen,
Yeah.
and we can quickly go over that now. So yeah, I mean, we can see the statement here. It is, I'd say, the only one of this kind that we've ever seen. I don't think I've seen them put out a statement to this extent and detail before.
Yeah.
And basically, in a nutshell, they are both sort of undoing and redoing certain decisions within the last few months. They're kind of trying to make things more uniform. They're trying to make a more uniform approach. But the thing is, when you start removing bans, then again comes the question of where is the line? Like
Yeah.
do you just do it for
Which
the last few months? Do you do it from until the start of the year? Do you do it from the start of this competitive season? It's like,
Mhm.
where is that sort of limit?
Well, it does seem like they started with the people that are affected for Worlds.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's obviously a good start, but it does seem I saw some Twitter posts that it looked like for example, Jesus had gotten banned, it looked like. And
Yeah, Jesus and
like
Peifu
so it
and
is
VAE.
interesting because
Yeah.
yeah, and I did see like some Reddit posts and even some comments on Twitter of people saying like, well, this isn't really fair because there's people that have gotten banned for buying accounts or whatever, and what that's not fair to them. But I think the thing that people are not maybe um like picking apart here is that the accounts that did that are still banned.
Mm.
Like basically all that changed was they're saying you can't um they still they can't get to keep their clean accounts in this case. Which honestly I'd kind of agree with anyways. Like I don't think you should get banned necessarily for stuff you did on other accounts. I don't know, but
Yeah.
anyways, but the point is that like if I went and bought one account and I was playing on that one account and I got banned, that's different than if I have one clean account and one banned account. And whether like how that should be handled, I guess is one thing, but um, it is different though.
It
I
is.
guess what I'm getting at, and I kind of feel like I don't know. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that, I guess. Like, if you're breaking TOS, you're breaking TOS, I guess is what it is.
Yeah.
But I did think that the good change out of this, however, was not banning the entire team for one player.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it is kind of
Yeah.
absurd to think about. Like, somebody was playing on another account that wasn't their main account. They got caught. So, like, it's not even their own account and it's
Mm.
one player on the team and you just lose everything. Like, like at least if it was on their main account, you could be like, well, you were playing with them, you should know or something,
Yeah.
right? But like, it's something they're doing on a different account in their free time on a different account, and then everyone loses. Yeah, I think that's a good change. Um, I don't. I guess it's not, maybe not a permanent change because maybe they're gonna hold them to it next year or next time, I guess. But it still is pretty crappy to a whole team can lose everything because of one player.
Yeah, especially when it's almost impossible to properly vet, just one player within an entire team and all of their accounts, especially bear in mind that nowadays people can have, 20, 30 accounts. How are you meant to check every single one of them and see which Supercell ID it links to?
It's kind of sketchy too. Like, what if just thought this? Like, what if somebody like pays off another player to do something against TOS so the team gets banned? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's just a weird thing to like think about that like one person get the whole team banned. I mean, imagine if it was like that in professional sports. Like,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
this guy was taking steroids, whole team is gone. Like, which I mean, I guess if in some cases they do punish a whole team, but I think actually, I guess the differentiator here though is that when they're these TOS like this specific type of TOS breaking doesn't like affect the competitive integrity. Like it's not like Picastro was I don't know like modding somehow during like the tournament. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's not actually affecting the competitive integrity. So,
yeah, exactly.
but
But yeah, I mean, it is a complex situation. I think it's going to change a lot. I mean, I think in the next few months, we might see things develop. We might see the rule be established. We might see a few changes in the rule book as well. Um, so yeah, I mean, we'll move on to a few other topics as well. We are just going to bring up that list now. And sorry for the little background noise issues. I've just put you on mute for a second there, Magic, whilst we get that sorted. But yeah, we'll quickly bring up some new topics. I mean, and I think in terms of Clash as a whole, it is a very negative scene right now. Um, I think there are quite a lot of doomers, as you've said. There's not much positivity going around. I'm not sure if you think that's going to change at all there in the future.
Yeah, I mean, like I had said with the Eric thing, or like the whole copyright situation or any of that, was just like, because like even with the esports thing, right? Like eventually um eventually Supercell put a statement, eventually the other esports team put up a statement, like um but there was like just a lot going on before then.
Yeah,
Um so in general, there's just a lot of what I call doomers, like everywhere it seems, especially before there's even info. Like one of the biggest two pet peeves, and I've been seeing this across every Supercell game, is like people pulling these charts with like revenue, and the one that I hate even more, player numbers. Like nobody has the player numbers. Like nobody. Like I literally talked to somebody who like it was in a Reddit comment. Somebody was like called me a clown and was like, "Hey, the player numbers are this," and then links to this website. And the funny thing is, if you scroll down on this website, right, it says that the number one player, like the top 5 countries for Clash players, is like Afghanistan, Turkmenistan, Iran.
that's interesting.
And you're like, yeah, and you're like how do you even trust a website like this when they're literally saying like Afghanistan is the number one country for Clash players? Like, I don't know, maybe they have a lot of Clash players, but there's no way you're gonna tell me it's more than India or America or you know
Anywhere else,
uh
really?
but I'm just like, how. But the point is that I've just been seeing this everywhere, like in YouTube videos, on Reddit, on Twitter. People just have been pulling up charts like this from sites like that, and then get like really worked up that like the game is dying or whatever. And I don't know, that's just a big pet peeve of mine, is seeing that stuff everywhere when it's like, I don't know, there's literally just no proof whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like nobody has those numbers except for Supercell. And I mean, at least please use a website that's like semi reputable. I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, well, exactly. That is a good point as well. I mean, yeah, if nobody can track it, we shouldn't be looking at it, should it? It shouldn't even be a thing that's brought up in debate. But of course, somebody still will. There's always going to be a few people that do that if they want to prove their point
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, it's always the way.
And it's like I was listening to another YouTuber the other day, and he was talking about like Helldivers, and they had like the same thing. It's like the game was like, well, and this is the thing about like games on Steam though, is that there actually is player numbers,
Mm,
like real player numbers. And but even in that case, the game had like a giant spike, and then it fell down to like 10% of what it was, but it's still like a super respectable game. So I guess it's not like just um Clash of Clans. Like I guess this happens in other
yeah,
games, people are like, "Oh, the game is dying." It's like, it's like, let's say Clash has like 5 million players a month or something, right? Like for a 10-year-old game, that's still really good, but people will just, one, even if they had the real numbers, they're looking at you know, like it's still really good numbers, right? Like even if they are real,
yeah,
and then they're just not, like they're just not real numbers. Like that's just a fact. Like
yeah.
at best they're approximations, but they're not. uh,
They're not accurate. Yeah, exactly.
Revenue, at least revenue, I can kind of appreciate, just because like Supercell does publish their revenue, but I'm pretty sure it's for as a company as a whole. Like I'm sure you can probably figure that out with like how many downloads there are, or whatever. Like player numbers, Nobody knows
Well,
that, man.
exactly. And
Like
player
nobody
numbers,
does.
how do you account for people's ults? How do you account for,
Yeah.
because if one person has 20 accounts and they log into all of them, is that 20 players? Or is that just one person? It doesn't really,
Yeah.
there's no clear measurement, there's no clear way to figure that out. So yeah, it's $1 million question really, isn't it? How many players does Supercell have?
It just like I said, I mean, it bothers me, right? Like
Yeah.
just people like I literally see YouTube videos about it. It's like y'all are just getting so bored and I maybe there's it's for views or whatever, but it's just it really bothers me to see people get on that train of like oh like all like you know I was gonna talk about this, right? Like, trample damage, he
Mm.
on his last podcast on Reddit, he's been like, spread positivity. Like, the game is the game in a lower point than it was like I don't know 4 years ago. I don't know, maybe not.
Mm.
Like honestly, just those numbers don't matter, right?
Yeah.
Don't make a decision based on that. Like, are you enjoying the game, yes or no?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. If you're not,
you just
don't play it.
it's just crazy to see people, you basically use made up numbers and just go around and just like,
Preaching.
I would much rather is people talking about like, I like the hero equipment event. I don't like the hero equipment event. Like, and like real things. Like one of the things that I
Actually affects it.
saw like very recently is they had this obstacle. So they released this 3x3 obstacle
Oh,
in
yeah,
game,
yeah.
right?
The one you can
Yeah,
interact
and
with.
I saw a bunch of people like complaining about it, and it's just like, what are y'all complaining about, man? Like, you don't have to buy it. Like, the craziest thing about this obstacle too is this is literally on a month when they let us all have free heroes, like we can use them whenever, and they didn't do an event pass. And then you have people that are going they're greedy. Like literally, they took away two major revenue sources and just decided to sell an obstacle. And people are like, oh, they're greedy,
I,
and
and
$5 is overpriced or
it's an
whatever. Like
obstacle.
people are just
Yeah, just don't buy
yeah,
it.
it's like over an obstacle, man.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
people are like, "Oh, it didn't give me 2 million gold with the like." I just
Who cares? It's
I
just
would
just don't buy it. The clearest way to send a message to
yeah
any company, if you don't like the product, you don't buy the product. It's as
yeah
simple as that. I mean, sure, you can go online and you can say, well, I disagree with it. Fine, entitled
yeah
to that. Just maybe don't go on about it for about 4 years and make it your entire personality. That's my
yeah.
opinion on
I
it,
mean,
though.
I wish people would put this energy into like you know things that people would actually like would actually improve things for people. Like I don't know, like go complain about the gold pass. Like maybe it should
Yeah,
have more perks. Or go complain the clan capital and builder base haven't gotten updated in forever. Or
yeah,
go complain, that I don't know, like clan well, recruiting sucks, go
yeah,
complain
yeah,
about
yeah,
those things.
yeah.
Like if like imagine if we had as many posts about clan recruiting as we had about the whole Eric drama.
Mm.
Like
Or about an obstacle, a 3x3
yeah,
op
yeah. Like
optional
it's just
obstacle.
crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
Like I get it,
it's nuts.
there always has to be some criticism, but
Hmm.
like
Yeah,
I feel like people are just scraping the bottom of the barrel now for like anything.
there was a bit
And
of a
I don't
hate
know, maybe
train.
it's because the
Yeah.
game has been around 10 years. I don't know. You're not gonna complain about,
Well,
same things anymore.
well, it's well known that people, and it happens everywhere. Everybody loves to watch things go down. It's
Yeah,
Supercell's on top. If they can watch them go down a little bit and take a hit, people will love that. It is as simple as that. And I'm guilty of it as well. Not necessarily with Supercell, but just if something's on top, it's always fun to watch it go down a bit and just go, fun.
yeah,
It's just the way that the human mind works. I mean, it has been going on for a little bit. All of the criticism and all of the drama ever since really Town Hall 16 dropped. You're looking about 7 months of general negativity. But you've got to look. There are more things coming to the game. There are more features. There's more town halls dropping. I think there are more paid features as well. But Supercell needs a revenue in order to continue developing the game. It is
yeah,
unfortunate to an extent, but also it is still, you know, it kind of ties into our next topic, really, of is it to pay to win? And that topic has been big in Royale
yeah.
specifically, very big. And I think that's a easier call to make. I think Clash of Clans isn't quite there yet, but I mean, what do you think?
Man, it's tough. Like, I mean, I guess like to me the core mechanic of it really hasn't changed where if you're playing like it's all about time progress. Like, I mean, like I guess there is a win aspect to it, right? Of like I don't know if it's like I feel like the win aspect of it only applies to esports really.
Yeah.
Like if you're just playing casually, like all you're paying for is just to progress faster. Like I don't think the game is pay to win, like by
No,
definition.
I think it's actually impossible to make it fully pay to
Yeah,
win.
like
I
it's
think in
just it's
esports,
like
though, yeah, that's different.
yeah, I mean like if it was like a ranked game or something, right? Where like, they're like if everything was like ranked and like on a personal level too, because most of it is clan based. Like if it was like ranked and personal level type rankings, and if max out really fast, you'll win. I don't know, maybe in that case, but I just the game's all about like time,
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That is true.
um, and there's not really a win.
No,
Honestly, the game gets boring once you're maxed, to be honest, because you don't got anything else to do.
yeah, apart from
Um,
esports, and that's it. Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Once you're max, there's not much, there's
I
not much
mean,
else
if
going
there's
on.
like, I mean, that doesn't mean that some of the decisions are like Like, I mean, yeah, you can go too far with the time, I guess is what I'm getting at here, because like we talked about this last time about like the time, you know, I guess it doesn't have to be pay to win to not make it greedy, I guess. Like if they had the time to max to like 15 years,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and if you don't pay, you're never going to max out.
No, exactly.
Like, yeah, that's maybe it's not pay to win, but it's definitely greedy.
Mm,
Um and I guess I feel like most of it's still good because like they even like we talked about they reduced the time. My main thing would be the equipment. Like it is kind of like I said we talked about this, but it being 1,500 gems if you miss an equipment is insane. So I
yeah,
hope they work on it. And
yeah,
I had one creator bring up an interesting perspective was that people complain that the game is super, super easy and God, you can triple with your eyes closed. But then on the other hand, people are also crying that like, oh, if you miss an equipment, I'm gonna be out of luck. But it's like, I don't know, maybe that's why they're making the game easier. So like even if you miss equipment, you'll still, you can
yeah, yeah.
everything's on the same level. I don't know. But
Yeah.
um
Of course, on the esports front, it is different. You know, if you don't have that new equipment or whatever, and it's currently in the meta, especially in a
yeah.
you know, especially now that it's all about time rather than 3 stars, and we're seeing in some cases sub 1 minute 3 stars. You know, it's a case of you really do need every single piece of equipment, but it's you know, it's clearly that the game is more catered towards the casual players, and I think for the casual players and the casual community it isn't
Mhm.
pay to win because I as you say it's based on time. If you upgrade faster,
Yeah.
you just get matched with other people your level. You know, it's not like you're getting matched with people
Well,
below your skill.
and
It's just yeah,
yeah, and I think that equipment might have been one of the more free to play friendly things. Like kind of like Clan Capital. They made everything super like you can't gem Clan Capital to max, like especially by yourself,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
And they kind of did the same thing with equipment where it's just super expensive to actually um, gem it. So
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll move on to the next topic. I mean, um, you did raise an interesting one, and you've done a few polls about this as well. Base layouts and specifically buying base layouts. I mean, I
yeah,
know that judging by some of the reactions we've seen on those polls, people aren't understanding. I mean, I'll quickly explain it from both sides, from the casual side and from the competitive
yeah,
side. From the casual side, you'd have to be completely nuts to buy a base layout. There's no other way to put it. If you're playing for fun and you're not really too worried about defending your bases because it doesn't really matter that much, then yeah, you'd have to be nuts to spend, $15-$20 on a base pack. If you're in the competitive scene, it is vastly different. People will spend lots and lots of money on it. They'll spend their time building bases, testing bases, buying bases from other base builders, and then contracting base builders to teams so they can get better bases. You can also hire base copiers nowadays as well. People that will go around, they will watch streams, and they will literally rebuild it block by block for $1 or $2 per base, which is um well, it's absurd in its own separate way, isn't it? But um, I think the general consensus that you saw was that
Which
people,
is no.
yeah, just just no.
Which and I guess I shouldn't have been so surprised. I maybe it's just like my perspective, dealing with like families, is I see a lot of families partner with, like God, I swear you can probably join like any handful of like Clash Discord servers, and probably like 50% of them have partnered with a base building server,
Yeah, I'm
you
partnered
know?
with Clash
And you
Clan.
see them
Yeah,
sponsoring everything and like
yeah.
I don't know, I just feel like I see them a lot. So I was actually really curious, like, well, and actually the thing that sparked my me thinking about it was I got an ad. I got
Yeah,
an ad
yeah,
for Blueprint,
yeah,
and I was like, "What the hell?"
yeah.
So
So
I mean, it's
Blueprint, if
really
you're
it was really
watching,
just making
it's
me think
working.
is
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I see families buy bases,
Hmm.
but I've always thought, like, personally, that it's a waste of money, like you said, just because I mean, for multiple reasons. Like one, you're like most people aren't doing anything super competitive where it matters. And two, I mean, I always feel like if you think about it logically, um, you go to this base building server and it says Gaku's building a base. Like, is he gonna build? Like, I'm not making accusations or anything, but is Gaku gonna make me the best base possible? Like, I just would imagine, right, that he probably makes like 10 bases. He's gonna pick the best two for himself or something, Like,
That is an interesting topic. I mean, a lot of base builders they do provide a guarantee almost. Well,
yeah.
less so nowadays because everything gets 3 stars
Well, because of the
when
meta,
you,
and
yeah.
that's the last piece of the puzzle, right? Is like,
Is it worth it in this meta? I don't
is
think
he?
so.
Yeah,
In
exactly.
Town Hall
What even is good?
Yeah, exactly. For this meta,
Uh,
I feel like the best way to defend is just, go to Finland, go to Supercell, give them a few million and ask if you can have like a few extra defenses built into your base. I think that's probably the best way. Because at Town Hall 16 it just seems irrelevant, but at Town Hall 15 I think it was a far more prevalent matter and I think it was probably a lot easier for base builders as well, because defense was actually possible to an extent.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it is interesting just thinking about the meta. I was just thinking, like, man, when Town Hall 15, it is interesting how it flip flops. Like, at Town Hall 15, like, it was. I remember seeing so much on Reddit about people complaining about how hard the game was,
yeah.
but, like, no, of course, esports players weren't complaining. But now it's literally flip flop. Now you have all the esports players complaining, and I mean, maybe I'm just not on Reddit enough, so maybe somebody can correct me, but I don't think I've seen a whole lot of, like, the game is too easy on Reddit. Some just an
No, I think
interesting.
it's I think you've definitely got different communities. I feel like the Reddit community is way more casual.
Yeah.
I feel like, and that also explains why there's so many people on there. It's a lot easier to post. It's a lot more moderated. There's a lot more kind of helpful.
Mhm.
It feels like as well. Whereas you go onto Twitter and it's a different beast entirely, isn't it? Everybody is hating each other. Everybody's wanting each other to just leave. It is a nutty world on there. So you know it's it's difficult to get an accurate picture as well. I feel some esports players
Yeah.
are happier because they're doing well in an easier meta. Some of them aren't. It's yeah.
Mhm.
You could be here for ages. I mean, base building is a big industry though within Clash of Clans. A lot of people might not realize it, but it is something that comes up regularly, and that people
Yeah,
spend
when I
a lot of
but
money on.
before, I think for teams, a lot of that's a base builder
Yes.
or a few base builders, not these big base building companies. And I think that's really what I was thinking about. Like, I know that there's like good base builders out there. Like, that's the thing. Um, I don't know, but really, when I was saying all that, I was really thinking more about like the base building companies in general. I
Yeah.
mean, I bought bases from a few times, but I was just never super impressed. I mean, I also was doing it at Town Hall 14, which was allegedly easy,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I'd probably think the same thing at Town Hall 16. But I didn't really play much there in Town Hall 15. I didn't buy any bases at Town Hall 15 either.
No.
So,
No. Uh,
but
I
I
mean,
guess, like we said, everyone said no.
I
Like, there's very few people that
exactly,
said yes.
exactly. It was the vast majority said no. It just shows how small that audience is. But despite that, base building companies are still going strong. Es- base builders as well. You see less of them nowadays, but it is still common.
Mhm.
I think the best possible option here is to move over to an expert opinion, and we've got none other than I think we've got CNN giving us some breaking news from Trump because he's weighed in on this. Um, and
Yeah.
it's
I mean,
very interesting. Trump here is saying he's openly critical about the meta. Equipment is pay to win. Former president defiantly says esports bans are unfairly applied, and you can see down in the bottom right, Biden has weighed in as well. He says it's sick reacting to
we got
a teammate's slow attack when he only managed
yeah.
it in
That's why
2 minutes
Supercell.
13. Yeah, that
That's
is
why Supercell was trying to silence him
yeah, exactly.
yesterday.
I can't blame
And
them. Yeah, this obviously we're not endorsing any sort of violence against any politics or whatever. This is all a joke, but this is a funny little meme. You got to admit that it's it's pretty good stuff. 1 minute he was spamming roots, the next he was banned. Eyewitness.
yeah,
It's you know,
Reddit is wild, man. Reddit's wild.
it really hits hard, doesn't it? They were quick on that as well, weren't they? No waiting around. Yeah.
I know all the comments. I was reading the comments and people were like, "Holy crap! I just saw this and I didn't even think it was the Clash of Clans subreddit. Like they thought they're on politics or on like shit
Yeah.
posting or something."
Yeah, always the way. Um, right. Well, we're gonna end it there for today's slightly shorter podcast. I am sorry, but next time we're gonna have some new topics. We're gonna have some new things going on. Um,
I
Magic
think
is
we wasted time with the pre-show.
yeah. You know what we did? The pre-show was almost. In fact, it might have been better than the show. It's difficult to say for
I
sure.
know we were talking about Reddit recruiting.
Yeah, we
So
were. We were. That could be a good topic for next time. Let us know if you guys want to hear more about that and our thoughts and our opinions and possible solutions that could be rolled out. I mean, there's a lot there. But for today, that's it. Thank you, everybody, for listening along or for watching. And have a good rest of your week. Thank you.
mhm.